Macchiato, mochaccino, half caps, cappuccino. Ooh, I love my coffee. Ooh, I love my coffee. Americano.
Yes, it's me, DJ Crier, here on the red carpet with Mr. Marc Black, the man famous on Fame Games for the infectious and chart-topping Ooh, I Love My Coffee song. So the big question coming up, what would our world be like if there was no more coffee? But first, there's so much to know about our Fame Games 2008 Effigy Award winner for Folk Artist of the Year. Mark, I've spent most of the afternoon watching your YouTube videos and checking you out, and I must say, you've got the mischievous grin of a teenage boy about to get lucky, but you look like the cross of Bob Dylan and Woody Guthrie. What keeps you going so strong, besides coffee, of course?
Well, songwriting is just the way I've dealt with my life for so long. It's just how I go about my everyday life. I don't really think about it as work or anything. I get up, I go to the coffee shop, and by the time I have my double espresso, it's just another day, and songwriting is what I do.
Maybe we should ask your wife how you keep going so strong. Maybe that's what's the force behind you.
Oh, yeah, well, she just rolls her eyes every time I tell her we're doing another project. In fact, just yesterday, she was kind of getting on me because I wrote a song about toilet training. and it's like a little cassette we put together called Poop Tunes. Now it turns out that Pampers, the plastic diaper company.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that over there, but they're interested in using my song. So anyhow, I was telling my wife about this, and she's just rolling her eyes, and she just says, "Oh my God, another project, here we go." That's just the way it is. I did the song for Obama last year, and now I've got the song for Rachel Maddow that I'm kind of pushing. And really, when I originally wrote a song about coffee, I don't think my wife knows really quite what to make out of it, but I think she does enjoy it, and she especially likes going to my shows when I have the whole band and dance-oriented.
Yeah.
She really likes dancing.
Let's take it back a few years, though, to your high school band, the Blades of Grass, and the album, The Blades of Grass Are Not for Smoking. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, we were actually called the Furnace Men. And we were called the Furnace Men because the bass player's mother had a store in town, and she had this old coal furnace area downstairs, and if we cleaned it up, we could have a club down there. So we did clean it up, and we were the Furnace Men, and our friends would come and these little jams in high school. Anyhow, that band kind of sounded like a group that was popular then called The Association. We had 4-part harmony, and it's kind of like Beach Boys-ish, but it was kind of wimpy rock, to tell you the truth. And it was pretty well done, and some producers in New York heard us, and they signed us, and we toured with the Doors and Neil Diamond and Van Morrison and just a lot of great people. It was really fun. But they changed our name from the Furnace Men to the Blades of Grass. And honestly, we didn't even know what grass was. Pot. We were so innocent. And I thought it was like a quote from Walt Whitman, leaves of grass or something. And
that's brilliant.
But, those are the days when, the psychedelic revolution was really happening, so they wanted to take advantage of that. And it was just something that was really fun that I did between high school and college.
And when did you know that music was going to be your way of life? Have you ever had other jobs?
When I was 21, I had a deal with RCA, and then everybody I was working for at RCA got fired. My album got canned, so I was kind of disgruntled at the time. So I went out and I'd already graduated college, and I felt like I didn't really know how to do anything, though. I knew how to read books and think a little bit, but so anyhow, I went out and I bought a pickup truck, and for about 2 years, I sold firewood and, split firewood and learned how to build stone walls and learned to do some carpentry. I lived in some small cabins out of Woodstock, New York, places that only had wood heat and an outhouse in the woods and, very rustic. I got back into music and I met some people. And, I know what happened. I remember one morning I woke up and I said to my girlfriend at the time, I said, I know what I want to do. And she said, what? And I said, I want to have a band that really means something to this town. I didn't want it to be, my goal was not to make it a national or an international phenomenon. I wanted to have a great local band because that was something that seemed real to me. So that's basically what I did. I found some great players in town. That's how I got really involved in music.
That's a really good story. I like that, a band that really means something to this town. And I think that we're now...
Well, you know, it evolved so beautifully that about 3 years later, the carpenters, the good carpenters in town, got together and they decided that they wanted to build me a house. So they took responsibility. There was a big concert, and a bunch of the musicians in town came and played at the concert, and we raised money for the materials. Basically, in 2 days, they put up the structure of the house.
That's amazing. And are you still living in that house now?
No. What happened is, a couple of years later, I got married, and for the first year, we lived in that cabin year-round when we had our first son. And then... we moved to New York City. That was like a transition time because Ronald Reagan became president and everything changed right around 1980. And then as my kids, grew up a little more, we ended up moving about 40 miles out of New York City, but we didn't go back to Woodstock. So, and then my kids never wanted to go to Woodstock, so I finally let go of that cabin. But I still go there all the time, and the musicians I work with, I would say, when I'm on the East Coast, I would say 80% or 90% of the musicians I work with still come from Woodstock.
Tell us more about Woodstock, because it is such a legendary town for people who have never lived there or been there for any length of time.
The town I live in now is in northern Westchester, which is 40 minutes north of New York City, and it's a very nice town. It's very lovely, and there's some really sweet people and some very artistic people who live here. But it's also a very materialistic kind of oriented place. People have a fair amount of money here.
Uh-huh.
And in Woodstock, there are people who have money and everything, but there's something else that's interesting. It's like the most important thing to them is something else. It just has like a spiritual quality. The Tibetan Buddhists have a big presence there. There's a big Zen Buddhist presence. There have been enclaves in Woodstock since the very early 20th century. Mm-hmm. And it's just always had that quality. I mean, I'm going up there tonight to sit in with a bluegrass band. There's just always stuff happening.
I'd say if I were to relocate Fame Games tomorrow, I think that's where I would go based on your description. It sounds like my kind of town.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the other thing that I love about Woodstock is that, while it does have kind of like a new age patina somewhat, it also has I hope this translates right, but it's got kind of a redneck quality too, or a real rural quality. That's part of the poetry of Woodstock. That it has like a kind of a rough quality, with the farmers who have lived there for, centuries really, and it's part of the community. Did you ever see that show, Northern Exposure?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh, it used to be on TV, and it was about a little town that I think was supposed to be in Alaska. It was very much like, at least what Woodstock was like in the 70s.
Well, I grew up in a town of 399 people. They bragged about it on the city sign. So I understand small towns a lot. I don't think Woodstock is that small, though, is it?
No. Last time I checked, which was quite a while ago, Woodstock had 5,000 year-round residents and 15,000 residents in the summer.